All right, hope everybody's doing well. Let's talk a little bit about MLA works cited entries. I've gotten a lot of questions about that this week. So first of all, I wanted to remind you that your Little Seagull Handbook has excellent MLA coverage, and they also include citation maps. The citation or document maps, let me say that. The document map is awesome because they've gone through and labeled the parts of the citation that you will need and where you can find them in the original document. So please make sure you refer to that MLA section in your Little Seagull Handbook. So MLA formatting and MLA citation style, all of these rules work together to help build a research trail and help anybody reading your work or retrace your steps and go to the original source. So with MLA, you have the works cited entry on a works cited page. Some of you are probably familiar with this. Any source you use in a document, you will include it on a works cited page. We have set format for this. I talked about this a little bit in the video that I posted earlier in the week. Typically, that citation is going to start with the author or author's last name, then first name. The title of, for example, an article will be in quotation marks in title case. You'll have the name of the publication italicized and in title case after that. Then it'll deviate a little bit. If you're working with something like a scholarly journal article, you'll have the volume, the issue, the year, the page numbers, and so on. If you're working with, for instance, an article from a website, after that italicized name of the main website, you'll have a date and probably the URL. So let's look around just a little bit at these pieces of information, what that looks like, and where you'll find that for some of the different sources that you will use. I want to mention that when something is missing, you just move to the next piece. So for instance, if you are working with an article from a website and there's no author, what will come first then would be the title of the article. All right. So here's an article from WRAL from their TechWire site. So here's the article. Typically, if you have an author on WRAL and on most news articles, that's going to show up here. This is Associated Press. Associated Press is not a person. It is a news service. We're not going to use that as an author, so you can bypass that. So for this article, our citation would begin with this title. So we would use title case, even though they don't. So title case means capitalizing all of the important words. We would put this title in quotation marks. You'd have a period, close your quotes. WRAL TechWire would use title case and be italicized. You would have the date, 9 March 2023, and then you would have the URL up here at the top, which you can't see because of the way that I'm sharing this on my screen. Okay, so another type of source would be perhaps a journal article, a scholarly journal article. So let's take a look. Let's stay with the same topic as the article we just saw on WRAL. All right, so let's take a look at this. Now, when I use an article from a scholarly journal, and I'm sorry, this is taking forever to load. Come on. Okay, whenever I use an article from a scholarly journal, I want to go look at the PDF. The PDF will show you exactly how it appeared in the original publication. It'll preserve the original page numbers. It's just a lot easier to work with from a citation perspective. All right, so here we have two authors, and you always list the author last name first. Since we only have two, we're going to use both their names. So it would be Neto, comma, Joanna Margarita Sequeira, and Etienne Mollet. Now, and that's French, so Mollet, or Spanish, French. Etienne tends to be a French name, I think. Don't quote me on that. So you will only invert the first name because we're doing that for alphabetizing purposes and for the purposes of your in-text citation. Your in-text citation is always going to use whatever comes first in your works cited entry. We'll get into in-text citations a little bit next week. So you would start with the author's names. So invert the first author's name, put a period after the author's names. We would have the article title in quotation marks with a period at the end. Then you would have the name of the journal, and you're going to spell out the name, Journal of Business Ethics. You'll often see that abbreviated in the top or bottom of the first page of the article. Please also note that you can see that information here, and you can see it on the main site from the library whenever you pull up that article. All right. So you will have the volume, which is 152. The issue number is listed up here. I don't see it down on the article, but it's here. So VOL period 152, comma, lowercase ISS period 4. You'll have the date, and then you will have the page numbers. For an article that you find through a database, and this is a database service, ProQuest, you would then include ProQuest in italics, and then you're going to use a stable URL or the DOI. Now, when I say stable URL, do not copy and paste the giant search URL that you're going to have at the top. You can use the DOI, which you see right here. DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Digital Object Identifier, which is unique to the particular publication. So I recommend using that. You can also get sometimes a stable URL through a button up here or on the side. Now, those are the parts. Those are the order that they go in. When you create these works cited entries, you're going to double space them. You're going to use a hanging indent. That means that after the first line, you indent the subsequent lines. It's the opposite of a paragraph where you indent the first line of the paragraph and then everything else is at the left margin. And you will eventually, not for the assignment you're doing right now, but when you start working on your annotated bibliography and your paper, then you will alphabetize those sources. For the scavenger hunt, the preliminary research project you're working on right now, just list them in the order that you get them. Put that citation in there, answer those 4 questions. Put the citation in, answer the 4 questions, okay? You don't have to go in alphabetical order. You don't have to make it fancy. Just do your best with the works cited entries and answering those questions. The idea behind this assignment, remember, is to help you explore this topic that you've chosen, figure out your angle on it, see what's out there. Okay, you haven't fully committed to exactly the research question yet. So you may find yourself changing direction a little bit right now. That's okay. So use that Little Seagull Handbook. Use that MLA information that is there for you. I do not expect you to memorize MLA citations. Okay, I want you to get used to the rules. I want you to know how to use your resources. You don't have to memorize this stuff. There's not going to be a test where I tell you cite this journal with no help, okay? Use your resources, all right? And remember too, you have to know what the things are, what the pieces are. Citation generators sometimes get it right, but if you don't know what the individual parts are, you can really get yourself into some trouble. So please cite them on your own with the use of those resources. Now, once you have done that, once you've given this a good try, let me know what questions you have. We'll start talking about quoting, paraphrasing, all that stuff in the coming weeks in our in-text citations. But first, you have to understand how to do the works cited entries. Okay? So let me know what questions you have and send me specific questions. You know, if it's I can't figure out how to cite, you know, this type of source, or what do I do when this information is missing, whatever, let me know. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to post more information. I'll be walking you through quoting, paraphrasing, summarizing, in-text citations, all that fun stuff in the coming weeks. Please be in touch if I can help you. I hope that you all are having a great week, and I will be back Friday with, excuse me, another video for our next week.